This is Helene Werner, and we're here to discuss her experiences at ECOC in Chautauqua.
I came to Chautauqua in 1939 with 7 or 8 of my siblings and my parents to our grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. That was my first trip to Chautauqua, and I was 12 years old. And we had lots of help because on the porch, my grandmother was with several young men, and they helped us unload. She was directing them and immediately started directing all 7 or 8 of us. I come from a family of 10 girls, and some of the older ones came east with Uncle Roland and Aunt and his family, so there wouldn't be so many in the car for us when we came across. And like all kids, we thought we were never going to get here. Back then, we came US 20 all along the lake and lots of scenery. I took over after Aunt Eunice after several years of coming with my family and my children, and helped Aunt Eunice open up the buildings. My 2 sons remember moving mattresses from the Mayflower over to the Reformed Church house because she was in charge of opening up that building also. We lived on the farm and always had to come in between getting the hay in because we had livestock. And when I came as manager, my husband came along with me, and he was not retired yet, so he was in and out the first few years. I took over from Martha Bird in 1987, that fall. And when I came in May by myself, because my husband was working, with a full car, and spent the night with Aunt Eunice at her apartment, and came here the next morning, and it was cold and rainy, and the curtains were down in the office and everything was piled up, and I thought, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? And anyway, with Aunt Eunice's help, I made it through the first season, and the board kept me on. I had been a dean of our mission school with about 400 people, but I had a good-sized committee. When I took over, it didn't seem like there was that much to do, but lots of repairs, lots of investments, lots of everything to do besides registrations. And my family came with great help and enthusiasm and helped open up the buildings that June. And some of the funny experiences I had, besides being a good plumber with all the toilets we had here on the ground, in the houses. I think I remember with all 3 buildings, that was the first year they were trying to integrate into our system of bringing your own linens to the Westervelt, which Aunt Eunice had sold to the Ministers Union at a good price, and having the rooms cleaned. So it was quite a job explaining to the people that had been coming there all this time over the years that now they had to leave their room clean and pay for their sheets. And so that was kind of a big step. And it took us several years. And when we were full here, some of the board people agreed to start staying over at the Westervelt so that they would get to know us better. And then we tried to pull them in for the socials also. One of the big items was that students on the 4th floor that never woke up in time to be at the gate by 7 o'clock. So regularly, I got a phone call from the gate and said so-and-so wasn't up there and he was supposed to be up there to work. And the boys were worse about it than the girls. And so I either had to holler over the loudspeaker system so that everybody in the whole place knew that so-and-so was late for work, or run up 4 flights of stairs. And most of the time I ran up the stairs, and rather than wake everybody up at 7. Another experience was I heard some noise on the front porch one Saturday morning, and I went out to look, and the front porch was full of luggage, ice chests, hanging clothes, and sleeping people. They had couldn't get a motel, so they drove all night, and then when they got in at 4 a.m., they just all unloaded their car and took it back and then went to sleep on the porch. Pillows and blankets too, just in the chairs. There was a minister and his wife and a daughter, I believe. And the other funny story was I had a call from the gate, and I used to remember this gentleman's name, and he had just one child too. And he said, that's when I could park out in front. He said, would you please come and get me? He said, our car broke down and the tow truck brought us as far as the gate. And I'm here with my family and all their stuff. And when I got there, it was a hot day. He had on red and white big polka dot shorts on, and the awfulest pile of stuff I'd ever seen. And when you take all what they bring and put it in one pile, it was pretty good sized. And so I went down to the gate and loaded him up and brought him in, and for their week. And had lots of good times too. Met lots of new friends, and when I first left the farm and my swimming pool, the first summer was really rough, but the next summer was much easier, and I could relax more and enjoy things. And the people make this place, the sharing in the kitchens. The kitchens were the place to really be if you wanted to know what was going on. Wonderful conversations and wonderful fellowship. And I'm so happy to be back this year. I have enjoyed it immensely.